feedback.
Right now at 5, an update on a shooting in Joplin that left a teen injured.
Not to mention road conditions are not fantastic. We'll have a look at your forecast and those road conditions coming up.
Plus, snow-packed roads make travel dangerous, and officials urge drivers to stay home.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy. Well, after a day full of snow and dangerously cold temps, the extreme cold continues. We're going to head over to Chris Warner for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've had the dangerously cold temperatures out there since the snow began. Of course, the snow itself, so far officially 7 inches at Joplin. But as Doug mentioned, with the wind and the drifting of the snow, it's difficult to get that exact measurement. So relying on radar estimates for a lot of this. Quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Roads haven't really improved that much. Road crews have been out this morning, but again, it's going to take a while for them to get everything cleared out. I know a number of schools, businesses, organizations closed again today out there. Look at 32nd and Range Line, eerily deserted, just like downtown Pittsburgh, and still snow-covered roads across the region. So again, if you don't have to be out, if you don't have to travel today, another great day just to stay inside on cold. A number of covered and partially covered highways across southeastern Kansas, and on the Missouri side, a very similar situation, especially in our neck of the woods. We do have those covered highways for the entire region, with the exception of some partly covered roadways around Osceola. But either way you paint, it's still too dangerous to be traveling. Now onto the future track heading into this afternoon. We're going to have cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. We're still going to have gusty north winds out there pushing about 25 miles an hour. We'll eventually see some clearing later, but unfortunately, we're going to have to deal with the dangerous cold. Temperatures not warming much. Right now, as you can see, we're all in the single digits, at least from the air temperature side for the time being. We're all above 0, but you can see Carthage, Bentonville, Iola, for example, only at 1. And you factor in those gusty north winds out there. Look at these wind chills. This is why we have cold weather advisories and the extreme cold warnings in place across the region, because these wind chills are upwards of almost 20 degrees below 0. This is life-threatening cold in terms of those wind chills. You cannot out in this. You do not want to be out in this. Those cold weather advisories, extreme cold warnings will continue through at least noon tomorrow, as do our alert days continue through tomorrow because of that. Wind chills will still be well below 0 throughout the day today, and again, a mix of mostly cloudy to cloudy skies. Our high today, upper single digits, low teens, and we'll have the opportunity for some flurries. But the good news is, at least at this point, the chances of accumulating snowfall, that's done. We're done with that. Now we've just eventually got to warm up, and we will eventually warm up, but it is going to take some time. We're going to have a complete look at your forecast, have another complete look at road conditions and these bitterly cold temperatures, and when it does warm up with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll just have to stay safe and stay inside for now. Thanks, Chris. We'll leave an update to a shooting incident in Joplin. Police have arrested this man, Jahaven Crumpton, in connection to the shooting, which happened Monday night around 6:30 on Florida Avenue. JPD responded to 911 calls in reference to gunshots. Now, upon arrival, police found a male victim with a gunshot wound. They took him to a local hospital for further treatment, and at last report was listed in stable condition. Crumpton has been arrested on charges of first-degree assault, second-degree assault, and armed criminal action. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. A lot of people who tried to travel on I-44 yesterday wished they had, and authorities received multiple reports of slide-offs along the interstate in southwest Missouri and northeast Oklahoma. Now, at one point, the Missouri Highway Patrol shut down westbound I-44 at mile marker 11 near the Missouri-Oklahoma line for an extended duration. KOAM Shannon Becker covered the interstate yesterday, where conditions led to more than a dozen semi-truck crashes. The Highway Patrol recommended drivers continue to seek an alternate route and prepare to seek shelter as temperatures continue to drop. And the dangerous road conditions extended south of us into northwest Arkansas. Now, this is video from the Fayetteville area. The Arkansas Department of Transportation has around 2,200 crew members working and will use over 15,000 cubic yards of salt for this storm. The Arkansas National Guard had also been mobilized to help in the support efforts. Dave Parker with ADOT says, quote, "It's just going to be a very, very tough week travel-wise." Well, emergency response services are on standby for accidents. The Labette County Sheriff says people there have been taking precaution and staying off the roads, and his department has seen minimal accidents. The sheriff says if you have to travel, it's best to be prepared in case of an emergency strikes.
Driving, just make sure you have coats, blankets, any kind of item to keep you warm. Have your cell phone charged. So if you need to, you can always dial star 47 to reach the highway patrol.
Now, he says it's important to stay off roads to avoid an emergency, especially because the extreme weather conditions can increase emergency response times. And you can get the latest road conditions and power outages across the area anytime through this QR code. It'll direct you to links on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, for information for each of the 4 states in our viewing area. And for a full list of closings in the area due to winter weather, just scan this QR code for school, government, church closings, and more. The QR code will take you straight to the closings page of our website. And once there, you can also find instructions on how to submit other closings. And one place that says they'll be running normal hours is Freeman Health System. The healthcare provider says today all inpatient, clinical, and hospital services will run as normal at Freeman Health System West, East, and Neosho. Conditions for reopening other locations will be reassessed this morning for a potential delayed opening. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. We'll take a look at the MIAA basketball standings just a couple of weeks away from the conference tournament. Plus, the Vatican reveals Pope Francis is undergoing treatment for bilateral pneumonia. And we're dealing with extreme cold temperatures. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Sky Watch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Well, we had another night full of cancellations because of the snow last night. However, college basketball action looms on the horizon, and the Pittsburgh State women are riding a 14-game winning streak, which consequently has the Gorillas in first place in the MIAA KPI rankings. Those are the ones that will determine seeding for the conference tournament in a couple of weeks. Here's a look at those rankings. Just a reminder, this metric KPI is being used instead of wins and losses to determine tournament seeding. The Gorillas were third in the standings last week before beating Missouri Western soundly on the road. Missouri Southern is ninth. Only the top 10 teams will make the MIAA tournament. And on the men's side, this week has been kind to Pittsburgh State as well. The Gorilla men are on a winning streak of their own, which now stretches to 4 games, and that has them second in the KPI rankings. Missouri Southern is struggling a bit right now. The Lions have lost 6 of their last 8. And as we show you the top 12 in the MIAA KPI standings, you can see that the Lions have some ground to make up if they want to participate in the conference tournament. Now, they're behind Newman and Emporia State for that 10th and final spot. PSU is up in second place, an improvement from last week, but still well behind Washburn. Now, switching gears to college baseball, Missouri Southern's Cole Gaiman is named MIAA Pitcher of the Week. This comes after the Lion right-hander throws 6 2/3 shutout innings in a 2-0 victory over Drury on Saturday. Gaiman racked up 8 strikeouts in that contest, and he's 2-0 to start the season. Well, we just saw the Lions beat Missouri S&T Monday. Pitt State baseball, on the other hand, has another weather-related schedule change. The Gorillas were supposed to play at Oklahoma Baptist yesterday. It's been indefinitely postponed, according to PSU Athletics. The teams will attempt to make this game up later in the spring. The Gorillas have had to deal with multiple changes to their schedule. This is now 4 games in a row that haven't been played. PSU had a 3-game series against Maryville get canceled over the weekend. They're scheduled to play their MIAA opener against Emporia State this Friday at El Ortolani Field in Pittsburgh. Well, still to come, President Donald Trump signs an executive order to expand IVF access. Plus, Chris has a check of the 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's about 5:15 now on this frigid Wednesday morning. We do have alert continuing to, and even though the snow is gone, we are going to be dealing with the extreme cold across the area. Let's take a look across the region. First, downtown Pittsburgh. As you can see, we've got still snow-packed roads out there. It is going to be slick. It is going to be hazardous. That's why if you don't have to travel, the best advice we can give you, don't. I know there's a number of closings, organizations, schools, businesses, all sorts of things are closed. Those are scrolling at the bottom of your screen, and if they're not there at any point, you can always check them out online, KOAMnewsnow.com, just because it's just too cold. It's too cold, and the roads, this isn't going to clear for a bit. It's going to take road crews a little while to clean some of this up. KDOT camera, 69 Kansas Crossing. Again, to get your bearings, we are looking back down to the south from there. In fact, there goes a plow truck, and that plow truck is in the right-hand lane. If you're making a right out of the casino to head south toward the traffic light, that's where he's at. And you can see they're going to be working, and I know these plow crews, God bless them. They're going to be out there for a while getting this all cleared out. So make sure if you don't have to be on the road, don't be. That way they can get out here and get this taken care of. That way there's no one in their way. KDOT camera 69 East 520th Avenue, of course, just north of the one at the casino. Similar situation. You can see that the roads are still snow-packed. I-44 cameras around the metro area, so we're taking a look at a number of them out there. So up here, this is about Main Street. You can see traffic is moving again. Last night, of course, that was stopped because I-44 heading into Oklahoma was closed. We can take a look over on the other side. This is at mile marker 4. So exit 4 if you're heading, getting on 43 south of Seneca. Still covered out there. Down here, we've got Range Line. This is that diverging diamond, and you can see that it is still snow-packed. And, of course, with those curves on those turns, you've got to be cautious out there. And then this is exit 11 if you were going to head north on Missouri 249 or south on I-49 to Neosho. And you can see it's still snow-packed out there. It's going to take some time. 20th and Range Line, similar situation. The roads are snow-packed, same at 32nd and Range Line. So I've shown you just a few of the cameras around the area, giving you any number of reasons to not be on the road unless you absolutely have to be on the road. KDOT still reporting a number of covered roadways across southeastern Kansas. We've got partially covered out there as well. So again, I can't say it enough. Just don't go out, okay? It's too cold. There's nothing to do. A lot of things are closed. You might as well stay home, have some hot cocoa, and just wait for this stuff to clear out. On the MoDOT side, same situation, with the exception around Osceola, where we have some partly covered roadways. Everything else still listed as covered. We have those cold weather advisories in that dark blue color, and on the right side of your screen, on the left side in the blue, we have extreme cold warnings, and that is because of the dangerous cold that we are experiencing and will continue to experience through at least noon on Thursday. So here we go through today. We're looking at cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. May get a few peaks of sun, also some flurries possible. The good news is, again, the accumulating snowfall is done. That's all done at this particular point. But we are still going to be dealing with bitterly cold temperatures. Not a lot of warming today. It'll be bitterly cold tonight with partly cloudy skies. Partly cloudy on our Thursday. A few clouds here and there. Still cold. Hence why those cold weather warnings and cold weather advisories continue through Thursday, but we'll get a little more sunshine out there for us. Thursday night into Friday, a few clouds here and there. Still cold, but maybe a degree or two warmer than where we've been here the last few nights, and we'll start to see slightly warmer temperatures. Take a look at noon on Friday, already in the low 20s as we head into Friday. And if that's not warm enough for you, which I know it's not, it's going to get even warmer after that. All right, quick look at those temperatures. Reason number 722 not to go outside. All of us at this point still above zero, but you can see places like Iola, Bentonville, Carthage sitting at 1. So we're not that much above zero. It is bitterly cold. And you factor in those north winds, which will be gusting today upwards of 25 miles an hour. That's putting wind chills for the majority of us upwards of almost 20 degrees below zero. And so that's, again, another reason not to go out. But the thing is, and also those wind chills could be life-threatening. So if you don't have to be out, again, don't. And if you do, limit your time outside. This is just like the heat in the summer, okay? Except you got to limit your time outside. You got to bundle up and take frequent breaks out there. Single digits through the morning, mostly cloudy to cloudy skies, and we'll have, again, a few isolated flurries out there. Highs upper single digits into the low teens, so not very warm at all. North winds gusting to 25, keeping our wind chills, again, through the day, upwards of 15 to 20 degrees below zero out there. Overnight tonight, partly cloudy skies. We're looking at temperatures. Yeah, that's not a fun number, but we're looking at about 6 below zero on average, with north winds gusting to 20, keeping those wind chills well below zero. As we look down the road, though, still look at next week. Temperatures have even come up a little bit for next week. So if we can just get through all this together, we'll be able to celebrate outside next week as we go into the low 60s, upper 50s with sunny skies, maybe a few showers on Wednesday. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Well, topping Health Watch this morning, President Donald Trump signed an executive order Tuesday that aims to expand access to IVF and make it more affordable. The order says it wants to focus on addressing current policies that make IVF too expensive. Policy recommendations would be developed and then submitted in the next 3 months. Now, the White House says as many as 1 in 7 couples trying to have a baby are unable to conceive. The administration says the cost ranges from $12,000 to $25,000 per IFE cycle, and that treatment is often not fully covered by health insurance. Well, a regimen of exercise and taking specific vitamins could be the recipe for a longer life. Researchers found combining omega-3 supplements and vitamin D along with regular exercise slowed down aging and cut the risk of invasive cancer by over half. Now, this study was part of the Do Health trial, which tracked over 700 older adults for 3 years. Participants were randomly assigned either a placebo, omega-3, vitamin D, and exercise alone, or those 3 things in combination. Those who took the combination of all 3 had a slower biological aging and lowered the risk of age-related health issues. The study was published in Nature Aging. Well, it was declared eliminated from the U.S. in 2000, but cases of measles are now popping up across the country, especially in areas with lower vaccination rates. Mandy Gaither takes a look at the latest CDC data on measles and goes over the best ways to protect yourself and your family.
It's a highly contagious airborne illness that can cause rash, fever, red eyes, and cough. Severe cases of measles can also cause blindness, pneumonia, or swelling of the brain, and in some cases, death.
We're seeing these sporadic outbreaks of measles.
Dr. Daniel Koritzkis with Brigham and Women's Hospital says most of the measles illnesses now popping up in the U.S. are in young children. Last year, 285 cases were reported to the CDC. That's the most since 2019. And this year, cases are already emerging in several states. Experts say it's due to lower vaccination rates from misinformation. In Texas, there's an outbreak with at least 24 cases, and state health officials say that number is growing.
The vast majority are happening in people who have either not been vaccinated or whose vaccination status is unknown.
Koritzkis says the best protection against measles is vaccination. The first dose is typically given to children between 12 and 15 months, with a second dose administered around age 4. The CDC says older children and adults can also get vaccinated if they didn't receive the vaccine as a child. And the agency says if you were vaccinated with the first version of the measles vaccine used between 1963 and 1968, or don't know which type of vaccine you received, you should get at least one dose of the current measles vaccine.
People should just make sure that they are up to date with their measles vaccination and that their children are up to date.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Well, if you're concerned about your measles immunity, tests can also be performed at a primary care doctor's office. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've still got dangerous road conditions out there and dangerous cold across the region as well. Another look at your forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, experts share crucial safety tips on how to travel in extreme weather conditions.
And we still have to deal with those dangerous roads out there. If you don't have to travel, don't. And it's not just the snowpack. We have alert days continuing for the dangerous cold. We'll have a look at that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, with this winter weather, doctors warn that exposure could lead to hypothermia or frostbite.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30, Wednesday, February 19th on this dangerously cold morning. We're going to go straight to Chris, who has more on that.
Yeah, we've got the dangerous cold that we're going to have to contend with out there. And we also still have the snowpack on the roads, which is not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. Now, plow crews are out there doing their best, but it's going to take some time. And, of course, a number of schools, organizations, businesses, all sorts of things closed or canceled again today. We have that list scrolling up bottom of your screen. And, of course, you can also find it on our website at koamnewsnow.com. Let's take a look at some of those roads out there. Let's just a quick look outside. Downtown Pittsburgh, again, Broadway there. You can see our camera at 4th and Broadway. It is still snow-packed. There's maybe one area of some tire tracks out there that you might be able to get traction. Now, the other thing I do want to quickly mention, I obviously made it home yesterday, but what I ran into as well, but because of the blowing snow, parts of 69, for example, and this wasn't the only place, I ran into it throughout the area. The snow would be blown completely off the road where you would run into stretches of the highway for a tenth to a quarter of a mile completely clear. And then all of a sudden, it's a snowpack that you'll go sliding on. So you've got to still take it easy. You've still got to go slow. Even if you run into some patches of clear highway, it's not going to last very long. Most of it is snowpacked, so please be careful if you have to get out. If you do not, then do not get out. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. You can see, again, snowpacked roads, few people out there. And again, the fewer people on the roads, the more that these road crews can get done what they need to get done. And here's what we're looking at on the KDAD side of things. You can see covered roadways for most of southeast Kansas. We do have some partially covered roadways out there as well. But again, just kind of painting that picture of if you don't have to go outside or be driving, do not. And then on the Missouri side, across our region, with the exception of around Osceola, where we do have some partly covered roadways, MoDOT reporting the rest of them as covered out there. Future track for today, we are looking at cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. Might get a few peaks of sunshine out there. Also, some flurries will be possible throughout most of the day. The accumulating snow is done, but a flurry or two will be possible. And we'll start to see some gradual clearing as we go into the late evening hours out there. Temperatures dangerously cold across the area. Now, at this point, nope, not anymore. Monette now at 0. Okay, and these aren't the wind chills. Monette at 0. The rest of us still single digits out there. And then you factor in those north winds gusting 20, 25 miles an hour. And we've got wind chills upwards of 20 below 0. And that's why we have cold weather advisories. And it is also why we have extreme cold warnings that continue through at least noon tomorrow. And that's why our alert day is in place today through tomorrow. The snow may be done, but this potentially life-threatening cold is not done. Our highs today, upper single digits, low teens, and wind chills throughout the day, upwards of 20 below zero. And again, we'll have those opportunities for some flurries throughout the day as well. We'll have another look at your forecast. We're going to take another look at road conditions as well across the area. And we're going to tell you about some March-like weather that's not that far away here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, well, that sounds pretty nice. Well, if you have to leave the house under these extreme conditions, I know Chris just made a very good reason for you not to, but if you do, make sure you are prepared for anything. Now, if you find yourself in an accident or stranded, experts say there are items you should have and safety measures you should follow to keep yourself and others safe.
If you're in a crash with another vehicle, certainly, try to get your vehicles to a safe location if possible, away from the lanes of traffic, and then, exchange, insurance info. And really all it takes is, each driver, however many drivers are involved, snap a photo of their license and their insurance card.
Have water, some food, blankets for warmth, because you don't know how long you're going to be, especially if there are a whole lot of crashes.
Now, AAA also says to help avoid crashes, you should have at least 4 to 6 car lengths between you and other vehicles. It's very important. Now, if you're maybe staying off the roads as recommended, you might still find an excuse to be outside. Now, from shoveling snow to attempting to build a snowman. But these temperatures right now, medical professionals in the 4 states warn things like frostbite and hypothermia may not be far, especially if you aren't staying dry. Now, they say it's important to consider your safety at times like this.
There's no warning for hypothermia other than it's very cold, you start shivering, you then can become delusional, you can stop shivering, and then freeze.
If you are going to be outside, they say it's important to try and limit how much time you're out. They also say you should make sure you have on plenty of layers, including things like hats and gloves and warm socks. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Ukraine's president says peace talks should not happen without all parties present. Plus, we have more on the plane crash in Toronto. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Well, topping World Watch, the Vatican says Pope Francis is undergoing treatment for bilateral pneumonia. The Pope is battling the infection at Gemelli Hospital in Rome Tuesday, where a small group of well-wishers are gathering outside. But the Vatican says his case of double pneumonia is complicating his treatment. The 88-year-old pontiff has been fighting off a respiratory infection for more than a week when a CAT scan on Tuesday revealed the bilateral pneumonia. Francis is more vulnerable to lung infections because he had a part of one lung removed when he was younger. Now, his public events have been canceled through Sunday, but the Vatican says the Pope is in good spirits and is asking for prayers. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says his country won't accept the outcome from talks to end the Russia-Ukraine war, where no representation from Ukraine is involved. Zelensky said negotiations to end Russia's war in Ukraine shouldn't take place behind the backs of the parties involved. At a briefing alongside Turkish President Erdogan in Accra Tuesday, Russia and U.S. leaders met in Saudi Arabia Tuesday to discuss working towards ending the war in Ukraine. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the two sides agreed broadly to pursue 3 goals: to restore staffing their prospective embassies in Washington and Moscow, create a high-level team to support Ukraine peace talks, and explore closer relations and economic cooperation. Rubio also stressed this meeting marks just the beginning and more work still needs to be done. And we're learning more details about the passenger jet which flipped on its roof while landing in Canada on Monday. Kaylee Schuller is in Toronto with the latest.
Dramatic video recorded the moments after a Delta plane flipped upside down while landing at Toronto Pearson International Airport. Passengers dangling by their seatbelts before scrambling for the emergency exits.
Basically, we hit the ground and kind of just bounced up and turned on our side. and were sliding on our side for a while.
Pete Kukov, a stunt skier and social producer, was aboard the Delta jet and shared the footage he captured on social media, saying in a caption, quote, "Being alive feels pretty cool today."
Yeah, we were hanging by our seatbelts upside down for a second, and then yeah, we made it off safely.
All 80 passengers and crew members survived the crash.
Once the fires were knocked down, the crews did make entry.
But what caused the plane to flip, the Canadian Transportation Safety Board says is still under investigation. Toronto airport officials noting what they called extreme conditions from two separate storms, with winds topping 40 miles per hour on the ground. Monday's dramatic scene making the fourth major aviation accident in North America in the past 3 weeks. In late January, an American Airlines jet collided with a Black Hawk helicopter in Washington, D.C., killing all 64 passengers as well as the military crew. A few days later, a private medical plane crashed in Philadelphia on its return to Mexico.
It's really important to recognize how grateful we are that there was no loss of life or life-threatening injuries in yesterday's accident.
Officials are expected to review the aircraft at its current position for the next 2 days.
That's it for World Watch. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Morning News. It's 5:44 now on this Wednesday morning, and I've got alert days continuing today into tomorrow, not just because of snow, because that's over now, which is good, but we also have the dangerous cold that we are going to have to contend with across the area for the next couple of days as well. Let's take a quick look around the area. We're going to take a look at those road conditions for you, starting downtown Pittsburgh, and you can see, again, snow-packed roads out there. Places to get traction. And the other thing, I discussed it earlier, and I want to emphasize it again, on my trip home, ran into a number of portions of roadways out there where the road clear for maybe a tenth of a mile to a quarter of a mile, and then it would suddenly be snow. Take it slow if you have to get out. If you don't have to get out, that's the best advice that we can give you. But otherwise, if you do have to be out, you've got to watch out. You got to go slow, even in the spots that are clear, because you'll run into rapidly changing road conditions. KDOT camera 69, Kansas Crossing. Again, we're looking back to the south, so we got the right turn lane coming out of the casino, heading down to the traffic light down there to the intersection at 171, and you can see still snow-packed. We've had snow plows out. The crews are doing their job, but it's going to take some time to get all of this cleared out. 69 East 520th Avenue, just north of that. Again, not a lot of places to get traction, and the majority of the highway is covered. I-44 cameras around the Joplin metro area. So we've got I-44 at Main Street here. Again, we got folks driving slow, driving safe. We also have Main Street down below, which you can see is still snow-packed. This side, I-44 at mile marker 4. There's some clear areas, but you've got to watch out for the biggest concern being those rapidly changing road conditions. And I-44 at Range Line. This is actually looking onto Range Line, looking back to the south. And you can see, again, you've got to go slow. You've got to be so careful out there because these road conditions will change pretty rapidly on you as well. MoDOT camera 20th and Range Line. Again, it is snow-packed as well, as you can see. And this 32nd and Range Line, still snow-packed out there. And again, it will take crews a while to get things taken care of. KDOT still reporting a number of covered highways in our region and some partly covered highways. We'll continue to see, of course, hopefully these conditions improve. But and I've said it, but if you don't have to be out, don't, because really that gives the road crews a little bit more room to do what they need to do to get these roads cleared. And since a number of places are closed or events canceled today, a lot of good reasons to stay inside. MoDOT reporting same conditions on our side of the state, align as well with those covered roadways. Here's the look. Cold weather advisories in that darker blue color on the right, and extreme cold warnings in the blue color on the left. All of these run through at least noon because threatening cold air that we have across the area. So let's take a look at the future track as we go through there. And I apologize, got a bad connection out here. So, that's part of the problems of having to be stuck where you are sometimes. We're looking at partly to our cloudy to cloudy skies today. A few flurries will be possible, but the accumulating snow is done. There will not be a lot of warming that will take place, and we'll eventually get some clearing as we head overnight tonight. But because of that clearing, we lose that blanket, and as you can see, it's going to be even colder tonight than what it is right now as we head through tonight into Thursday. On Thursday, though, a few clouds here and there. We'll have a bit more sunshine, and winds will ease up a bit for it. Still be dangerously cold. That's why our alert day continues through tomorrow. That's why those cold weather alerts continue through tomorrow as well. It won't be until Friday that we'll start to see a little bit of warming take place as we head into the afternoon hours. There you can see the low 20s. So while it's not great, it's a lot better than where we are right now. And here's a look at where we are right now. Single digits out there across the board. Monette sitting at 0. And you factor in those north winds occasionally gusting 25 miles an hour. It feels like it's nearly 20 below 0 in some locations. So again, this is potentially life-threatening cold. So if you don't have to be out, don't. Single digits through the morning, mostly cloudy skies and a few flurries here and there. Those flurries will be persistent through most of the day. Highs upper single digits, low teens. North winds occasionally gusting to 25. Overnight tonight down to about 6 below. North winds continuing to gust. So still bitterly, just dangerously cold out there. And it will be next week. Take a look. We are going to have spring-like weather about a week from now, a little less than a week from now. So if we can get through this, be safe, be smart, stay inside, we'll all be able to celebrate outside next week when we get into the low 60s and upper 50s. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, a bill in Arizona looks to give this state an official greeting. Lauren Clark reports.
Well, good morning. Hi. Hey there. All fine and good greetings. But one Arizona bill wants to bring the state back to its western roots. Howdy there, partner.
Howdy. Howdy. Howdy.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Howdy there. Howdy. Howdy, y'all.
It's a greeting you might be hearing a lot more of soon.
Howdy, guys.
A new bill trying to wrangle up votes would make
Howdy.
the new official Arizona state greeting. Kevin Volk, state representative from District 17 in Tucson, is one of the lawmakers introducing it.
The practical benefit is probably clearest when it comes to tourism. If we have howdy as our state greeting and that word gets out, we can do a lot of branding around that.
Ponying up attention.
And this is all of your steering and all of your brakes.
To places like Ponderosa Staples near South Mountain.
It's pretty much our official greeting here as well, and so we all think it's a great idea.
The whole desert landscape and everything else kind of gives way to the cowboy feeling, so I get it.
Well, that would be interesting and friendly.
Being friendly, I guess, treating each other with respect. Howdy's the best way to say it.
But the greeting is still spurring some criticism.
Not the Arizona vibe that I think of.
Well, they all say hi and good morning, but nobody says howdy.
That's more of like a maybe Texas thing.
So would this new greeting cause a Texas showdown? We spoke to someone from Austin.
Go for it. We're one country, why not?
And someone from Houston.
Everybody should share, so, we're just supporting each other.
Who gave it their Lone Star blessing. Still, the idea has others tied up in knots, including Governor Katie Hobbs, who suggests lawmakers are just horsing around.
I am so glad our legislators are focused on the serious problems like lowering costs, making housing more affordable, addressing our water crisis, and making an official state greeting.
Tourism is an extremely important economic engine that we have in Arizona. It's a vital part of our economy. It's one of the best returns on investment within our government.
We're back with more news and weather right after this. Well, your brain might just be wired to getting your groove on to music. A new study suggests that unconsciously moving to music, like tapping your foot or nodding your head, is an action our bodies are hardwired to do. Scientists call this groove, and it happens even for those who don't particularly enjoy music. Researchers at Montreal's Concordia University looked at more than 150 participants, and after listening to various piano sequences, both groups had nearly the same ratings for their urge to move to the music. A 104-year-old woman in Western New York had a unique birthday wish: to go to jail. The Livingston County Sheriff's Office fulfilled that wish. Loretta, who lives in a nursing home, turned 104 on February 8th. Now, in all her years, she never went to jail, but the sheriff's office changed that. Deputies sat down with Loretta for cake and coffee, but also fingerprinted her, took her mugshot, and locked her in a cell. Now, of course, Loretta hadn't done anything wrong. This was just her birthday wish. She also shared with the sheriff her secret for longevity, which is to, quote, mind your business. How about that?
Well, sometimes that's the best advice, is to just kind of mind your own business. And really, the best advice we have for you today, stay home, okay? So many things are closed, canceled, or otherwise not happening, and because it's too dangerous to be out, so stay home. Our alert day continues through Thursday. Now for the dangerous cold across the area as the snow has come to an end, but still, roads are snow-packed across the region, so if you don't have to travel, don't. The morning, mostly cloudy to cloudy skies, a few flurries here and there. Again, the accumulating snow is done, but a few flurries will still be possible through most of today. Highs upper single digits and into the low teens. North winds gusting upwards of 25 will keep our wind chills upwards of 20 below zero across the area through the day and into tonight and for most of tomorrow as well. Overnight lows tonight about 6 below zero, but we'll get some clearing in there. Starting to go partly cloudy overnight, but those north winds, as mentioned, still gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour, keeping those wind chills dangerously cold. Excuse me. About 15 tomorrow, single digits for our lows Thursday night. A little better on Friday, upper 20s. And then as we head into next week, spring-like temperatures, upper 50s and low 60s. So just a few more days and it'll feel great outside. We'll be back with more after this.